first and foremost, we need to understand what is sabr. What does sabr mean? How does it translate? Inshallah, how do we understand that within our Islamic framework, right? And sometimes it's translated as patience, and there is an element, of course, a layer of sabr that is, if we were to break into branches, it is patience. But it is not just patience. It is not a passive sense of patience, but it is an active spiritual practice. And what I mean by that as not passive, but an active spiritual practice, patience is truly to, subhanAllah, struggle with your nafs, to struggle and be content with the situation you don't have control over, to struggle to just accept maybe in that time what it is. It is sabr, patience, coupled with resilience, and it can look like enduring difficulties, difficult tests in certain moments. It can look like controlling anger. It can look like, persevering through adversity. That is truly resilience. Obviously, what we're seeing in the current face of our brothers and sisters in Gaza, right? It is sabr with the situation right now that they can't do anything about. The immediate situation they are in. Our sabr looks very different than theirs. And so it is maintaining faith and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan as you practice sabr. So first and foremost, we all need to have a very good comprehensive understanding of what it means to have sabr. And the reason this is so important, because this is such a crucial quality of the believer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran, praises the believers who have sabr, and we have to be able to support clients to navigate all the different aspects of their life with sabr. Okay, so it's a very powerful concept. It's a very powerful tool. Alhamdulillah, it's a very comforting, grounding tool, inshallah, to help our clients. So sabr is defined as not a passive patience, but inshallah, an active patience, that active spiritual patience that is coupled with action. And it can be an action of the heart, and it can be action through our limbs. And so how is sabr a tool for personal growth? And this is where, inshallah, we support, again, ourselves first and foremost, and inshallah, our clients, right? So sabr is a powerful tool for our spiritual development that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the face of trials and tribulations, in the face of practicing sabr with ourselves as we try to implement habits and create transformation in our lives. A lot of clients who will try to, obviously, alhamdulillah, create pivots in their life, like go in a new direction. You need sabr and resilience as, alhamdulillah, you're trying to do this, because you're not going to get it on the first try. You're probably going to struggle a lot, and you might go back to old patterns. And so practicing sabr with yourself in that sense. Also, sabr includes having empathy, having understanding. And so you can use sabr as a tool for growth, inshallah, in helping clients see challenges as opportunities, right? So there are many, obviously everyone is going through some form of tests, be it, in their careers, with family, relationships that they're having, a situation they're waiting to unfold. And so there's nothing greater, right, when it comes to alhamdulillah, personal growth, that we need than sabr, because things are never going to go as you completely imagine. There's going to be bumps along the way. And so alhamdulillah, sabr is what we pack with us, right? We want to pack this active, inshallah, patience, and we want to look for opportunities for growth that also, alhamdulillah, allows a believer to be one of, inshallah, in the category of strong believers. So as a coach, inshallah, understanding what sabr means, which I just covered, and then using it as a tool for growth is going to help your clients see opportunities in challenges. It's going to allow them to see, alhamdulillah, that challenges present unique opportunities for growth that do require sabr, that they have to lean into that sabr to truly grow from it, and also requires them to be introspective. Alhamdulillah, when we practice sabr, when we have patience, and we show resilience, and we show deep reflection, and really practice sabr in the way that the Prophet ﷺ modeled for us, that is when we start to go deeper, and we move from being someone who's impulsive and negative, alhamdulillah, many of the fruits that come with sabr. So sabr can be a tool for spiritual growth, because alhamdulillah, it calls us to face tribulations head on. If it calls on us to not avoid the storm, not to avoid pain, but sometimes to go through it, move through it, inshallah, and keep coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as we go through that. So there's many case studies I can bring up, subhanAllah, when our clients are going through very difficult moments in their life, right? Like I said, every slice of life we can imagine, be it health, career, family, relationships, and just general tests in life, and subhanAllah, connecting them deeper with the understanding of sabr, and alhamdulillah, how loved this quality is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's so many hadith that highlight this, and like I said, inshallah, in Adwam, the group coaching sessions, this is something I'm going to be diving deeper into as well, and sharing that with you. You can use those in your coaching sessions to inspire your clients to firmly establish themselves in sabr. So share with me right now, just from this first point, what are you connecting with? What's coming up for you? Have you ever used this? Have you ever thought about what a powerful tool sabr can be when you truly understand it, and helping your client, inshallah, form this, be inspired by it and form a deep relationship and connection with it, right? Alhamdulillah, when we understand these concepts deeper, we truly look to them for the strength and healing that they are, and for the absolute, courage that it gives us, alhamdulillah, when we understand what Allah calls us to, and truly to embody sabr in every aspect of our life. It is, alhamdulillah, it's so gratifying, because you're coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by practicing this, alhamdulillah. Someone can, client could be like, yes, okay, I understand sabr, and you might get a lot of this initially, right? Yeah, I understand what sabr means, and I gotta be patient. But truly to pause, and right now, if everyone can do that, take a moment and ask yourself, am I truly practicing sabr in the way that the Prophet ﷺ modeled? So think of the last time, most recent in your life, that you were tested with something. How did you respond? Because we know that sabr is in the moment of calamity, and that's the level we want to get to. So think of the most recent test you had. What was your response? What were your actions? What was your demeanor? What was your attitude? All of these are the higher level of getting to sabr. So we may have had sabr with our tongue, but our body language and our attitude said something else. We might have had sabr with our actions, but again, our mouth or heart might have said otherwise. So inshallah, being introspective and really asking, do I embody this beautiful quality at that level? And then in terms of practical strategies and techniques for cultivating sabr in our daily life, right? So if we're going to use it as a tool, powerful growth tool, how do you actually cultivate it, right? How do we build sabr in our life? So I'm not doing obviously a super comprehensive session right now. That is something, like I said, we go deeper into, but I want to share in another one, but I want to share some components I think that you can think about and inshallah use. And the first one and foremost is, taqwa, consciousness of Allah. And I'm very conscious. Again, Adwam is a program, alhamdulillah, what differentiates us is we have the Islamic framework, right? And without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the center of your growth, which is what our mission is at Discover You, without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the center of that growth, you're never going to really grow, right? You might grow superficially, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He's not at the center of that growth, when He is not the destination, you are never going to fully propel forward in that journey. So how do you practically do it? Mindfulness, and that is mindfulness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is what taqwa is. And the more that you are mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it feeds your sabr. It feeds your ability to show sabr in every situation. Those of you that are just joining now, welcome. Go back after this is done and watch the beginning, because I define what sabr means in our tradition. And again, obviously it's not a thorough, deep session definition, because alhamdulillah, we could spend an hour, if not more, just talking about this beautiful virtue that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls a believer to have. So in this final part, I just want to share practical strategies on helping to cultivate sabr in our life, and also inshallah in helping your clients, so that way they can use this superpower, this beautiful quality and virtue. So first and foremost, like I said, it is mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we are mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of His presence in our life, in His presence and awareness in our life in every possible moment, alhamdulillah, this gives you sabr. When you feel that closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will practice patience, because you know who that test is coming from. You know that nothing, not a leaf falls unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded it. And so it gives you patience, inshallah, through those calamities and challenges. And then in terms of reflectiveness, right? So I talked about self-awareness, and this is so important. A lot of people, like I said, are just lack self-awareness. They lack those moments of pause that are needed to grow, right? To really stop and ask, like, was I patient when my child spilled the milk this morning? Was I patient when we were running late for that dentist appointment? Right? Like, sabr is not just, oh, I'm tested, but sabr is in these small moments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you, right? How did you respond? Did you lose your temper and yell? Were you gentle and caring when that person cut you off on the road? When that cashier was just taking a little bit longer than they needed to, right? Did you show sabr? And so truly doing, these self-audits and being conscious and self-aware and doing the work to be self-reflective is going to, alhamdulillah, open you up to maybe assessing, I'm not where I want to be. And I know that, inshallah, I can do better and aspiring for that. So journaling, inshallah, any kind of exercise that helps you be more reflective and helping your client do that is going to help increase them in sabr, because now they're going to have true self-awareness and they're going to actually assess themselves with this quality. The next one that's obviously very important is dua. We are people of dua here at Discover You. This is something that's super big, alhamdulillah, obviously for the believer and for visionaries coming up, inshallah, at Discover You. It's so important to talk about dua as a proponent of growth, and inshallah we will have sessions on that coming up. But making dua for sabr, right? And the beauty of teaching your clients, if they struggle to have sabr in certain aspects of their life, the beauty of making dua for it is they form an actual emotional attachment to wanting to have patience, inshallah, in something, right? So when you make dua for something, you are now forming an attachment. So imagine that someone is struggling with yelling at their kids, and so they start making dua. That, Ya Allah, give me sabr with my children. When I actually had a woman this past weekend who shared this test with me that, she doesn't want to yell at her kids and she hates that this happens. And so, subhanAllah, this was what I was sharing with her. Like, first of all, make dua. Make dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you strength. Make dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you a righteous mother who has patience with her kids and can obviously be firm, but inshallah do it in the most beautiful of manners. And just by starting to make dua for it, it gives her an attachment to wanting this virtue. And so if you are truly invested now and want to, inshallah, have this virtue so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you, you're already steps ahead. But so many times we're not emotionally invested or attached to building a certain habit or virtue, and we're just like wishfully hoping it shows up somehow. So making dua for it is a very important, inshallah, way of strategizing to have sabr in your life. Next way, inshallah, strategy for cultivating sabr in your life and inshallah helping your clients do that is understanding and reflecting on specific verses of the Quran or hadith or certain parts of the seerah that exemplify or speak to the virtue of sabr. So again, when we are not connected or we don't recognize or we don't understand, beautiful verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises those who are patient, talks about the closeness to those who are patient in the face of calamity, sabr, who have true sabr in the face of calamity, or how the Prophet ﷺ talks about the, again, praises and talks about the virtue and the benefits and the fruits of those who have sabr, you will not feel inspired. And subhanAllah, you guys, one of the most compelling ways to create change is to first foster inspiration. And alhamdulillah, the Quran and the Seerah are these sources of inspiration. And so it's really easy for someone to say like, oh yes, I should practice sabr, got it, I know it's a virtuous trait. But they can't even pull up a Quran verse that emphasizes this. They can't think of a hadith or a story from the Seerah or a story from any of the prophets that would inspire them in those really difficult moments where we need to exemplify sabr. And then, by using these strategies I've shared. So I talked about, alhamdulillah, being mindful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to feed our sabr, being more reflective and introspective, making dua, and then holding a Quran verse or hadith, inshallah, that attaches you to this virtue of sabr. These are the strategies that I have shared. Those are 4 like I said, I really encourage you, practice it first and foremost for yourself, and then alhamdulillah, support your clients as they're dealing and navigating the different challenges and aspects of their life to attach themselves to this virtue through any of these strategies and the other things that I have shared. And alhamdulillah, by having a deeper understanding of sabr yourself and understanding, alhamdulillah, the framework as Muslims that we should have, you are going to create some really powerful changes for yourself and for others. And like I said, this is something that you have found beneficial, inshallah, and you want to dive deeper into, and you haven't joined Adwam yet, definitely consider it. Type into the chat. Our support team can get in touch with you. There's so much, alhamdulillah, depth that we go over and other Islamic concepts that we bring into, inshallah, coaching framework that allows it to be truly holistic and comprehensive. Because it doesn't matter, even if you're working in non-Muslim, environments, or if you are supporting Muslims or Muslim organizations, you're going to see incredible, inshallah, change when you start, alhamdulillah, keeping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the center of that, and you actually start using that language in the way that you support people.